Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Let's take a seat as quickly as possible, please. Today we have something that will gladden every heart. It gives us great joy to welcome back to Nudgee College our 2025 seniors, particularly those whose performance in the ATAR was outstanding. We congratulate our College Ducks, our subject juicers, and our Apprentice of the Year. So, gentlemen, you are most welcome back to your school. We will also present our GPS music team for their upcoming extravaganza down at Southport on Thursday, and we will hear from the captains as they reflect on the beginning of the year. As always, as an Australian community, we acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land, the one that they call Nurmadji and we call Nudgee. Our school is proud of its name and the heritage which it speaks of that goes back 60,000 years. So let us come to stillness, disposed in mind and in heart, to begin our day with prayer.
Good morning, colleagues, students, parents, and our graduates of 2025. I'd like to commence this morning with a prayer that just reinforces to us all once more the importance of our Edmund Rice education touchstones and how they guide all that we do here at St Joseph's Nudgee College. So if you join with me, please, I'll read along, but I invite you to reflect on the words as they're said. So in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and the Holy Spirit, Amen. Lord Jesus, bless our Nudgee community as we continue our academic year. May the touchstones of gospel spirituality, inclusive community, justice and solidarity, and liberating education be clear, invisible in all that we do and achieve. Live Jesus in our hearts forever. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Gentlemen, I just wanted to take the opportunity this morning to raise with you a few things that are occurring in the mission and identity world that I think could have a bit of an impact on how your school days might look over the course of this next term. Firstly, commencing this week on Thursday, up in the Edmund Rice Mall, which sits in the heart of the college, we have our big barbecues returning. Now, those that aren't aware, it's a sausage sizzle and you can purchase some soft drinks, but all of the money raised goes towards supporting charities. And as we enter our Lenten period next week, that idea of fundraising and charity becomes even more important. So if for whatever reason on a Thursday you find an extra spare few bucks in your pocket, perhaps the tuck shop or the boarding village may not be completely appetising for you that day, I really encourage you, not just for your stomachs, but for the charities to support those boys who are cooking those barbecues every Thursday. Gentlemen, in line with fundraising, tomorrow is obviously our inter-school swimming carnival, but rather than having boys slave over the barbecue all day, we will simply be selling Zooper Doopers. Same price as what you'll find them at the tuck shop, but just outside Tierney Green as you make your way down to the pool or make your way back up to classrooms from the pool, I encourage you please to get a couple of Zooper Doopers, buy one for your mate, buy one for your teacher, because all of the money raised from those Zooper Doopers will again go into charity. It's not going into any other fund, it's simply about supporting those in need this Lent. Also in line with that, next Tuesday, so today in 7 days' time, is Shrove Tuesday. And I'm not going to go into exactly what Shrove Tuesday is today, but for the sake of a short story, we'll be selling some pancakes both before school and also at morning tea if any stock remains. Again, all money raised goes towards supporting charities as we enter Lent. You can choose between jam and honey or butter or whatever else. So on Tuesday next week, please swing via Tierney, get yourselves some pancakes to get into that Lenten season. Next Wednesday is the beginning of Lent, so we'll gather as a college community for Ash Wednesday. Speaking of all things liturgy, our house masses, and you'll be aware that every one of the 9 houses engages in a traditional Catholic mass throughout semester 1. Our house masses begin very, very shortly with Barrett House, and every house will have a mass, and we ask you to be present, to participate, to sing, so that we can bring that gospel spirituality to life. 2 final reminders from me. Firstly, any opportunities to sign up for social justice can be done via the student notices each morning. So it doesn't matter whether you're in Year 5 or you're in Year 12, there are opportunities there for you, and I invite you to look at the notices and give back to those in need. And finally, just a final reminder to our Year 11 students, we'll be embarking on our inaugural Year 11 India immersion in the Christmas holidays of this year. There happens to be one spot still remaining. So if you're a Year 11 boy who's thinking, what a great way to kick off the Christmas break, but to travel to the subcontinent for 2.5 weeks and really learn an awful lot about yourself and a very, very foreign land, please reach out to myself or Mr. Martin to find out some information about what I think will be a phenomenal trip. Gentlemen, you may recall that last year we really dug deep into this concept of being a culture of kindness here at Nudgee. And I've been inundated with stories and photos from teachers and students alike of boys that have kicked off this year really being kind and caring to others. So this morning I wanted to take the time to acknowledge 4 boys, and they don't win a prize, they don't get a standing ovation. It's just about those little acts of kindness that are so important to us here at Nudgee. So the first slide that you're going to see is an email from Miss Roberts, one of our Year 5 teachers. Miss Roberts sent this email home to the parents of a young lad named Lennox. Lennox had only been at Nudgee for less than a week when Miss Roberts accidentally knocked over something on her desk that contained some materials, some prizes that the Year 5s work with throughout the year. Without being asked, without waiting for someone else to do it, Lennox took it upon himself to stand up, to be a good young man and say, Miss, I've got this, I'll help you, which allowed Miss Roberts to get on with the rest of the class. That proactivity, that thoughtfulness, that kindness, that's what every single one of you are called to do each and every day. So well done to Lennox for doing that, and well done to the Year 5s on the whole for the phenomenal start that you've made. I'm going to jump to the other end of the spectrum and now acknowledge a Year 12 boy. And this only happened yesterday. I didn't have my phone with me at the time, so I didn't take a photo of it. But it was right at the commencement of Lesson 3 on the back of morning tea. And as boys scurried off to class in and around those Mount Sion basketball courts where the toilet block is, some rubbish had been left there. Unacceptable, that's a story for another day. But a Year 12 boy who probably should have been rushing to get to class and knowing what this boy's goals are for the year, he would have been in a hurry. But he saw this rubbish that was left. And without even stopping to think for a moment, Andrew Emery, one of our house captains, prefects, stopped, grabbed a bin nearby and probably would have picked up about 20 to 30 bits of paper that would have been crow food if not. No one was watching, no other students were there. He just knew that that was the dignified thing to do and something that a man of integrity does. So well done, Andrew. The final 2 culture of kindnesses I have some live pictures of. The first one that you'll see here is a relatively empty Ross Oval grandstand. And this was taken last week when we played Toowoomba Grammar here. The Year 12s have set themselves this benchmark of being true to the blue. And rather than simply just flocking down to McInnery to watch the volleyball, there were a hearty group of Year 12 students that wanted to be at the cricket for the first hour. As boys came, they were kind of a bit awkward, particularly some of the boarders. Where do I sit? Do I go and sit with all the Nudgee boys, or they're all Year 11s and 12s? I don't know where to sit. Maybe I'll just tuck myself into the corner or go to the back row. I'm not quite sure where I belong just yet. It's really early in the year. Digger Rowthorne, our college vice captain, made a point of ensuring that every boy that arrived and wasn't quite sure where they fit was welcomed. Digger asked them what their name was, because obviously he's not going to know everybody's name just yet, and encouraged them, hey, come and sit over here. So you can see in this picture there's one boy standing. His name's Matthew. I learned that from sitting there behind Digger. And as Digger saw Matthew arrive, he was like, hey mate, I'm Digger, what's your name? Thanks for coming out. Means a lot to us, means a lot to the boys. Come and sit with us. So Matthew did. The next photo shows you what that grandstand looked like 20 minutes later. Because people tell me that this is the largest crowd that the First 11 cricket have ever played in front of. And I'll be honest, Digger didn't stop and say hello to every single one of them. It would have been ridiculous. But it goes to show just how those little actions of welcoming, greeting, saying hello, asking someone what their name is, makes a world of difference to how people belong. So a shout out to Digger for that. Another Year 12 boy that I want to acknowledge is Joseph McLean. I don't have a picture of Joe, but Joe was really, really crook at the start of the school year. It was disappointing for him because he's a prefect. His very first day back at Nudgee was a Friday of week 1. He'd missed his investiture, he'd missed the first cheering practice, but regardless, the first thing he did when he walked into the boarding village was put his formals on, put his blazer on, and go to Tierney to cheer on the debaters. There's not one debater in our first debating that's in Year 12, yet nevertheless our seniors flocked Tierney to ensure that those Year 11 leaders won their debate, and subsequently they're now 2 from 2. So while I talk of Digger and Joe, it's really important that those 2 boys are acknowledged this morning. The reason for that, men, is on that Thursday of week 1, our Year 12s had their investiture and blessing. It's a marvellous occasion, and all of you should look forward to that night when you are a senior. Because of their illness, not because of a choice they made, Digger and Joe, 2 really important Year 12 students, could not attend. Their families couldn't have that moment with them. They couldn't have their prefect or vice captain badge pinned to their blazer by a leader. And most importantly, they couldn't say the Year 12 pledge, where they were essentially saying, this is what we will do to make Nudgee a better place. This is how we will be true to the blue. So this morning, I'd like to invite Digger and Joe to come forward, given we've acknowledged their kindness. And I'm going to ask the 2 gentlemen to stand here at the lectern to recite their Year 12 senior pledge, and then to receive their vice captain and prefect badge from Mr. Thompson as we officially welcome them to being a member of the senior class. Please listen carefully to their words, and then once Mr. Thompson has pinned their badges, we give them a round of applause.
As seniors of St Joseph's Nudgee College, we accept our call to God to lead the community in 2026. We pledge to carry out responsibilities as senior leaders to the best of our abilities and talents. We pledge loyalty to the Catholic tradition of St Joseph's Nudgee College and will offer our support to each and every student. We pledge a commitment to leadership in accord with the Charter for schools in the Edmund Rice tradition. With God's grace, we will strive to give each other, enabling us to be signs of faith to who we meet.
And gentlemen, it's now my pleasure to introduce Miss Susie Chin, our Dean of Learning and Teaching. Please welcome Miss Chin.
Good morning, staff, students, and of course our very special guests this morning. Welcome to our first academic celebration for 2026. Today, we're celebrating the academic excellence of our graduating cohort of 2025. But more importantly, we're celebrating what sits underneath that excellence. Not just intelligence, it's not just ability, but discipline. The resolute adherence to a course of action in order to achieve one's goals. There is a powerful myth that success belongs to those with the highest IQ, that some people are simply born to succeed. But again and again, evidence from education, sport, and business tells us otherwise. Sustained success comes far more reliably from discipline, the habits, the routines, and standards that people hold themselves to over time. A striking example of this comes from the Netflix documentary series America's Team, The Gambler and His Cowboys. I thought it might be timely to talk NFL given the Super Bowl yesterday. For those of you unfamiliar with gridiron, the Dallas Cowboys are often referred to as America's team. Much like, and I'm clearly a Maroon, the state of Queensland feels a sense of loyalty to the Maroons during the state of origin, regardless of your interest in the game. Under coach Tom Landry in the 1970s, the Dallas Cowboys experienced significant success, including 5 NFC championships and 2 Super Bowl wins. After a lull in results throughout the 80s, Jerry Johnson purchased the Cowboys for the tidy sum of $140 million. In the sports business, though, Results translate to ticket sales, and ticket sales mean money. So with a flailing team and disenchanted supporters, Jerry sought to bring in a fresh new approach to coaching at the franchise. And new head coach Jimmy Johnson was brought in to assert a new sense of discipline to the team. Jimmy walked into a team of superstars, but talent alone does not win championships. With a fresh set of eyes, Jimmy could see the need for more grit, more effort, and greater discipline. Under head coach Jimmy Johnson, discipline was absolute. Training standards were uncompromising. Preparation was meticulous. No player, no matter how famous, was above the rules. Effort, accountability, and consistency were non-negotiable. It was an adjustment for players that was not often well received, but Jimmy held strong. He knew it was discipline that would reap the rewards. The result? In the early 1990s, the Super Bowl victories returned. Not because the Cowboys suddenly discovered talent, they already had it, but because discipline turned that talent into a high-performing team. What's particularly telling is what happened next. So after winning another 2 Super Bowls under Jimmy Johnson, he left the club and a new coach was appointed. The new coach didn't quite value discipline in the same way that Jimmy did. He allowed the players to choose when they turned up to training. He allowed them to and tolerated substandard efforts. This loose approach to training spilled over into their lifestyles, and players started to believe that they were above the law, engaging in illegal activities in the name of a quick buzz. During this era, the Cowboys still had many of the same star players. The talent didn't disappear, but the culture changed. Rules were softened, standards slipped. Discipline was no longer enforced with the same clarity and consistency. And despite having a roster full of stars, the Cowboys struggled. Seasons ended in disappointment, and championships stopped coming, and so did the fans. The lesson here is a powerful one. Talent opens doors, but discipline keeps you in the room. That lesson applies just as strongly in schools as it does in elite sport. The graduates we celebrate today did not succeed simply because learning was easy for them, or they engaged simply when they felt like it. They succeeded because they developed disciplined habits, planning their time, completing work when motivation was low, revising consistently, and responding constructively to feedback. They embodied the resolute adherence to a course of action in order to achieve one's goals. Long before the final exams, they were doing the small, disciplined things that led to big outcomes. Their academic excellence is not luck, and it's not accidental. It is the product of sustained effort, structure, and self-discipline. So today, we honour their results, but we also honour the discipline that made those results possible. To our graduates, congratulations, your discipline has earned this success, and it will continue to serve you well wherever life takes you next. I now invite College Principal Mr. Scott Thompson and Mrs. Danette Booth to present the awards. It is my privilege to present the Apprentice of the Year for 2025 to Ethan Rowan. Ethan is currently working for EcoPro Builders. He hopes to finish his building apprenticeship, get his builder's licence, and eventually move into project management. The most important lesson Nudgy taught Ethan was one of resilience. He learnt that when things don't go well, you can always find another way. And he embodies the motto, if at first you don't succeed, Try, Try Again. Please congratulate Ethan on the Apprentice of the Year award. I would now like to present the subject juices for the Year 12 cohort of 2025. Please hold your applause until the end of each group. The first group of subject juices are Michael Byrne, Dux of Essential English, and he's absent today. Isaac Caputo, Dux of Aviation Remote Pilot, Certificate 3. Mason Cardew, Dux of Electrotechnology, Certificate 2, who is absent today. Will Condon, Dux of Drama, who is absent today. Lockie Cook, Dux of Physical Education and Dux of Sport and Recreation, who is absent today. Chase Kremer, Dux of Essential Mathematics, who is absent today. Don't worry, we do have people here, I promise you. Bill Deeren, Dux of Drama. Jack Ezzy, Dux of Design. Adam Fraser, Dux of Legal Studies and Dux of Literature. Oliver Gegg, Dux of Design. Please congratulate our first group of subject juices. Toby Harvey, Dux of Study of Religion, who is absent today. Xander Holmes, Dux of Visual Arts in Practice. Hilton Im, Dux of Japanese, who is absent today. Oliver Lovell, Dux of Music Extension. Ryan Matthews, Dux of Digital Solutions and Dux of Religion and Ethics. Rowan McNamara, Dux of Biological Science. Will O'Reilly, Dux of Philosophy and Reason. Jack Plowman, Dux of Accounting. Please congratulate each of these subject juices. Henry Potter, Dux of General Mathematics. Sean Reed, Dux of Music and Dux of Music Extension. Levi Slater, Dux of Sports Coaching, Certificate 2, who is absent today. Harry Stoneman, Dux of Economics. Davis Sturrock, Dux of Agricultural Science. Hunter Thomas, Dux of Legal Studies. Please congratulate each of these subject juices. Wiley Thorne, Dux of Construction Certificate 2, Dux of Engineering Pathways Certificate 2. Sam Tully, Dux of English and Literature Extension. Spencer Ward, Dux of Design. Jack Williams, Dux of Business. Robert Wilson, Dux of Rural Operations Certificate 3, who is absent today. Harry Wright, Dux of Agricultural Science, who is absent today. Noah Wright, Dux of Business Diploma. Please congratulate our last group of subject juices. It's now my pleasure to invite each of the ATAR High Achievers onto the stage. An ATAR is a rank which can be used to attain university entry. The gentlemen you will see on stage today achieved ATARs that ranked them in the top 5% of ATAR eligible students across the state. Please join with me as we celebrate the achievements of our top 10 ATAR achievers. Ollie Lindy, who is absent today. Ollie received an ATAR score of 97.65 and was subject Dux of modern history. Angus Casey, who is absent today. Angus received an ATAR score of 97.65 and has been accepted into a Bachelor of Advanced Finance and Economics at UQ. Joseph Costigan. Joe received an ATAR of 97.7. Joe has been accepted into a Bachelor of Pharmacy at UQ. He then hopes to use that qualification to assist with entry into medicine. Joe's advice is to make the most of all opportunities that Nudgee gives you. Jem Harper, who is absent today. Jem received an ATAR score of 97.75 and was subject Dux of Visual Art. Jem has been accepted into the Bachelor of Medical Studies and Doctor of Medicine at University of New South Wales. He aspires to be a paediatric surgeon and would like to illustrate a children's book with his fantastic artistic abilities. Charles Dallymore, who is absent today. Charles received an ATAR score of 98.95. He's exploring his university options into medicine and suggests that you surround yourself with people who would like to see you succeed. Riley Nixon. Riley received an ATAR score of 99.2. Riley has been granted entry into the Bachelor of Pharmacy Honours Scholars Program and Master of Pharmacy at Monash University. He hopes to move into the development of medicines, particularly those targeting neurological disorders. Alex Smith. Alex is absent today, but he received an ATAR score of 99.3 and was subject Dux of Physics. He's studying a Bachelor of Advanced Finance and Economics at UQ and hopes to enter the international world of finance. Tejas Ashok. Tejas received an ATAR of 99.45. Tejas has been accepted into the Bachelor of Advanced Science Honours at UQ, and he hopes to become a theoretical quantum physicist. Matthew Heath. Matthew received an ATAR score of 99.5 and was subject Dux of English and Dux of Physics. Matthew has been accepted into UQ's Bachelor of Engineering Honours and Masters of Engineering program. He aspires to use those qualifications to work in the world of cars and motorsports. Please congratulate our ATAR High Achievers for 2025. It is my pleasure to announce the 2025 Proxime Assessor. The Proxime Assessor is the student who achieved the second highest ATAR in their cohort, which is no mean feat. With an ATAR of 99.7, our Proxime Assessor of the 2025 graduating cohort and subject Dux of Mathematical Methods is Andrew LaMonica. Andrew has accepted a position in UQ's Bachelor of Laws Honours and Bachelor of Commerce double degree. He aspires to become a lawyer in the banking and finance sector. Please join me again in congratulating Andrew as Proxime Assessor. We now come to the presentation of our College Dux for 2025. The College Dux is the student who graduated with the highest ATAR of their graduating cohort. In fact, our College Dux received the highest ATAR possible. Our College Dux has embodied what it means to be a Nudgee man. During his time here, This young man achieved countless academic awards, was awarded the Dux of a subject on 4 occasions, and was proxime assessor in both Year 11 and Year 12. Sorry, I will correct that, in Year 10 and Year 11 because he's the Dux this year. He received the Stephen Daly Award and was involved in track and field, volleyball, basketball, football and swimming. It is my pleasure to announce the 2025 Dux of the College with an ATAR of 99.95, placing him in the top 37 graduates in the state, and subject Dux of Chemistry, Engineering, Mathematical Methods and Specialist Mathematics, Lucian DeWett. Lucian has accepted a position at UQ in their dual degree of Computer Science and Engineering, which he hopes to use to enter the world of AI or become a cyber security engineer in the Defence Force. Without spoiling Lucian's words of wisdom, please congratulate Lucian on his outstanding achievements, and I invite him to come and talk to the Assembly.
Since receiving my ATAR, I've had a lot of time to reflect on my Year 11 and 12 journey and try to conjure up some advice. But the more I think about it, the more I realize I don't have any revolutionary advice to give you. There is no magic framework or organization system, just hard work based on some basic principles you've heard countless times. Good morning, everyone. Firstly, I'd like to congratulate the Nudgy Men of 2025 for their results. 6 students above an ATAR of 99, 25% above 95, and 43% above 90, as well as all the boys who achieved a vet qualification. A truly remarkable result. I now have the task of trying to give some advice that will inspire others to achieve their own big goals. I've been dreading this task, partly because I'm not a fan of speeches, but also because there is no magic advice that will shift your perspective. Among all the countless pieces of advice you've heard a million times, schedule your time, believe in yourself, step outside of your comfort zone, there are some unfortunately boring principles. There are no fancy study techniques or time management systems that guarantee success. They didn't work for me, and chances are they might not work for you either. What actually makes a difference boils down to a few basic principles. Firstly, listen to your parents and teachers. I have to get this one out of the way while I still have your attention. I know it is super cliche, and I often didn't follow this piece of advice myself. And many times, I regretted this. Throughout Year 11 and 12, my teachers often said something like, "If it isn't in your draft, I can't give you feedback on it." This piece of advice didn't click for me until my first research investigation in Year 11. My teacher warned me to research a simple topic so I could focus on the quality of the draft. However, the overachiever in me didn't listen, and I chose a hard topic. I worked hard, but I didn't have enough time to complete my draft properly. As a result, I received limited feedback, my final didn't improve enough, and I got a mark I definitely wasn't happy with. The mark itself doesn't matter, because a bad result is different for everyone. What does matter is that I felt gutted. From then on, I followed my teacher's advice relentlessly to ensure I completed my drafts exactly how they wanted them. That change allowed me to avoid making the same mistake again. There are many other instances where I ignored advice from my teachers and parents and later realized they were helping me avoid a mistake. Take that with a grain of salt, because sometimes you need to trust your gut and follow the process. But more often than not, their advice will be more than helpful. Seek their advice when you need it and apply it when you receive it. My second piece of advice is to find your motivation. Getting a 99.95 ATAR or duxing the school doesn't have to be your goal. It might be improving your marks, competing amongst your mates, or receiving an ATAR that you need for a uni course. For me, it was a combination of competing with myself and others. I made it my mission to outwork everyone else, to work further ahead, know the content better, or work longer hours than everyone else. Whatever it took to keep the competition alive. At other times, I was competing with an ideal version of myself. While studying for externals, I reflected on my progress every day and aimed to improve slightly the next day. To work an extra hour, complete a practice paper faster, or focus slightly more. It wasn't always successful, but it pushed me to work harder. Find what motivates you. It doesn't need to be big or conventional, just something that gets you to your desk every day. My last piece of advice is hard work. This one is very cliche and sounds a bit naive. Just work hard and you'll succeed is what you've been told a million times. But unless you're working super inefficiently or have terrible study habits, hard work is always going to improve your results. Motivation and study techniques improve efficiency, but there is no real substitute for hard work. Personally, hard work made a big difference while I was studying for externals. I could only squeeze so much out of my time, so I often needed to drop my balance for a short while to make sure I was putting in the effort required. Balance is important, but sometimes you'll need to drop it to focus on your goals. Finally, some small pieces of practical advice I found useful. Firstly, always hand in a good draft. A good final starts with a good draft. Secondly, challenge yourself. Don't just simply complete the first couple questions in a worksheet because they are familiar and comfortable. Try to tackle some of the harder questions. Sitting for a while and brainstorming solutions to a problem builds real understanding and makes you practice your problem-solving skills. Lastly, focus on active recall. I know some of my teachers didn't appreciate my lack of notes in class, but you need to find what works for you. Instead of spending hours making pretty notes and relearning content repeatedly, challenge yourself by trying to summarize a concept to a friend, making and using your own flashcards, or most importantly, doing plenty of practice questions in the form of textbook questions and practice papers. The important thing here is to practice recalling information rather than repeating it. Finally, I'd like to give a special thanks to my parents for believing more in me than I believed in myself. I'd like to also thank all my teachers that helped me along the journey. Thank you to Mr. Sugars for helping me excel in specialist, Mr. Sen for teaching physics in such an intuitive way, Ms. Corley for always answering my incessant questions that oftentimes didn't make sense, Mr. Gibb for challenging me to be better when I didn't always have the motivation, Ms. Burden for a never-ending patience, and Mr. Luke for always going out of his way to lend a hand. The teachers you meet throughout your Nudgy journey are some of the most supportive people you'll ever meet. Nudgy truly is a golden ticket, and the opportunities this school will provide you are truly something to be grateful for. Thank you. I'd like to now invite Ms. Harding to the stage.
Thank you for that wonderful speech. Good morning, parents, staff, and students. Today, I would like to acknowledge and congratulate our GPS musicians who were selected from across 9 GPS schools. Being chosen to participate is a highly competitive process, and it is always a privilege to be part of this annual showcase. Our students, and yes, they will be performing this Thursday evening at the 2026 GPS Music Showcase, an event that celebrates the creativity, talent, and dedication of students from across our GPS community. This year's showcase will be hosted at the Southport School, with more than 350 students performing in choir, big band, concert band, and symphony orchestra. And this year, we have Nudgy students in all 4 ensembles. I would now like to invite Mr. Thompson to the stage to congratulate our GPS musicians. Zane Darwin. Caden Burton Demers. Hayden Schuler. Ariane Shahedka. And Kenan McLean. Please congratulate these students. That was for our instrumental program, and now we have our vocalists. Hugh Thompson. Tom Eagles. Joshua Cole. Sam Raffiana. Louis Thompson, Thomas. Lachlan Patterson. Darcy Livett. Tristan Jones. Lachlan Donahue. And Elliot O'Gorman. Please congratulate these students. Now, I would like to invite and welcome Kenan. He will be performing Wet Night on the Highway by the Australian composer Miriam Hyde. Please give a warm welcome.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first edition of a new segment called Keeping Up with the Skippers. I'm your host, Billy Cannellan, and today we are going to talk about E-Safety Day. We're going to have some quirky questions for our captains here, and then we're going to finish with a few weekend reminders about the upcoming weekend. So I'm going to go to Ethan straight away. And Ethan, what's Internet Safety Day all about?
Thank you, Bill. Boys, I just wanted to talk about, Internet Safety Day, and to say to you that it just serves as a bit of a reminder that the internet should be a good place for everyone. Someone should not get embarrassed, bullied, or even dragged down on the internet. All of us are online every day, whether that's on Google, Snapchat, Instagram, so it really matters what you put on there, what you say, and everything like that. There are some real risks with being online, so cyberbullying, scams, fake accounts, all these things have a huge impact on, everyone in society, so that's pretty much that. And then I would just like to say, wrap that up by saying, one comment, one post, one tag can change someone's life, change your life. So in 30 years' time, when you're going for a job interview or anything like that, these things that you put on Instagram or Snapchat or you post online can resurface. So,
Absolutely, very well said. Flicking now to Vinny. Do you have any tips on how to make everyone's online experiences safer?
Yeah, Bill, so I actually got 5 tips I'd like to give to you boys. So first tip would be to just be kind. Show empathy, respect, and kindness in every online interaction. Second tip is balance time online. Don't just spend all day on the internet. Go outside, have a chat with mates, have fun, and don't spend too much time online. Third tip, speak up. Report online abuse and harmful content to e-safety. Fourth tip, protect your space. Use privacy settings, strong passwords, or parental controls to keep you safe online. And my fifth tip, start the conversation. Talk about online safety with your networks, family, friends, colleagues, and communities. Boys, if you follow these 5 tips, I'm sure you'll be safe online.
Very good. And yes, just to second that 100%, I feel like everyone should be following those tips. And the internet's obviously a very good place where everyone can, have some fun, but it's very important to be safe on them. And if you follow those tips, you'll be perfectly fine. So going now to Digger, what are some real life examples on this apps that we use today?
Great question, Bill. For those boys who are of age, obviously 16 and above, and who are on social media, one really big one is having a private account on Instagram. So if you have a public account, obviously anyone from anywhere on Instagram can see it, which can be a bit dodgy, especially if you're posting personal stuff, especially in school uniform. Another big one, I know a fair few of us are on Snapchat, and it's pretty common to have your location on for all your friends. But I know, myself included, we lose track to how many friends we actually have. So always have your location off, or just to your close friends, but probably off to everyone. So that's probably a few tips you can use for real life examples.
Very good. Thank you very much. So we're now going to move on to the next part, which is asking our skippers a few quirky questions. So I'm going to go straight to the school captain, Ethan. What side of the maxi-bond do you eat first?
Oh, right, the first time hearing that. I'd go the top for sure. Not the bottom. Or the
crunchy or the biscuit?
Not the biscuit, the crunchy bit on the top.
Interesting, very interesting. Moving now to Vinny, you're obviously a man of very, very many talents. If you could have any superpower, which one would you choose and why?
I'd probably say probably light speed, super speed. One of my favorite superheroes is Flash, so probably just zip around everywhere and get to places easy. So I know it's not really a fun answer, but yeah, probably light speed.
Very good, like it a lot. And moving now to our vice captain, Digger. Obviously, after a long Saturday supporting all the boys in term 1, what's your go-to fast food place to go to, and what is the order and why?
Look, it's not the go-to, but it's the most recent one. So Friday night, me and about 30 other boys went out to Ippy to watch debating. And Mr. Brearley, thanks, he lended the boarded bus for a few seniors. So the boarded bus stopped in at the Macca's at Ippy. And I was pretty hungry, so I got the mega Macca's meal, which was a quarter pounder, cheeseburger, 3 nuggets, chips, Fanta, and they got a thick shake as well. So that was the most recent meal. You know, watching those debaters and cheering after every time, especially you, Troy, I love seeing you up there. So the debaters working hard, I was working hard, and I deserve that Macca's meal.
Very good, and 100% agree, very well deserved, and just a huge shout out to all the boys who went out there to support Troy and the boys on Friday night. So now, moving on to our last little bit, we're just going to talk about the weekend, and I'm going to go to Vinny now, who's going to talk about cheering practice on Friday.
Yeah, boys, cheering practice on Friday. This one's going to be at McHenry, so we want all the boys to flood McHenry. It's a big game for Churchy this round for volleyball, so we need everyone there. We need everyone to G up and try not to miss it. You know, it's really big for us senior boys that we have everyone there, and we want to make a big year, so for the volleyball boys, we need everyone there. Get behind it. Simple.
Absolutely, 100% agree. Cheering practice on Friday is going to be very good. So moving now to Digger, who's going to talk about debating on Friday night at Churchy.
Just before that, real briefly, we've got Rock Around the Clock for my boarders. We know Nudgy Boarding Spirit, a lot of that is attributed to boarders. So Thursday night, get keen for that. Also Thursday afternoon, there should be a Spirit video coming out, so keep eyes out for that. We love a good churchy round. Friday night, Troy and the boys, 2-0. We started well. Let's back up. Let's flood Churchy, because I've heard some chirp from the Churchy boys that there's going to be a lot of debating. So we've got to match that numbers.
Very well said. Ethan, is there anything happening on Saturday?
Yeah, there would be the cricket and the volleyball. So volleyball, it's a huge game. A couple of years ago in 2024, we went over to Churchy and we lost a huge premiership game. So we're trying to, relive that and, well, not relive that, but go there this year and be dominant. So all the volleyballers need your support. So we're going to try and flood Churchy, obviously, as much. That's a great atmosphere there. And then the cricket, we'll try and get there in the morning at 10 o'clock to watch the start of that. Back up what we did 2 weeks ago at home here against Toowoomba. Get 300-400 boys there at the cricket to really blow them out of the water and show some massive support. And then on Thursday afternoon, as well as Rock Around the Clock, there'll be a Spirit video getting released at 4 p.m. So be ready for that. Watch out on the socials and, get keen for the weekend.
Very good. So just some timings for this week, just to reiterate what the boys have said. Spirit video at 4 o'clock on Thursday afternoon, and then cheering practice in McHenry at 12:40 at lunchtime, and then debating 6:15 at Churchy on Friday night. 10 a.m. start for the cricket boys on Saturday, and then 12:15, let's flood Churchy. So unfortunately, I wish we could stay here all day and talk, but that's all we have time for. So I hope everyone here learned something today, whether it's Digger's Macca's order, a safety tip to stay online, or the realisation that you have to cancel your plans for Saturday and flood Churchy. So thank you everyone for your time, and we'll see you next time. This is Keeping Up with the Skippers.
Good morning to our very special guests, the parents of our graduating boys from Year 12 2025. It's wonderful to have you here, and thank you very much for being along. To my very valued colleagues, to those joining us online, and of course, Nudgy gentlemen. Good morning, gents. It's been a wonderful assembly to this point, very inspiring. Hopefully you've taken a fair bit out of it, but I ask that you just listen for a couple more moments. So that involves sitting up straight in your seats to show that you are attending. Billy, I'm sure everyone here would agree with you. They'd love to hear you go on all day, but unfortunately we do have other things to do, as we are a school. I just want to reiterate some of the messages that we've had here before I just try and tie this up. Best of luck to our GPS musicians who are heading down to TSS. It's always a wonderful experience, the GPS Music Showcase. I'm looking forward to being down at Southport on Thursday afternoon. So good luck to all of those boys involved, and thank you to the staff who've prepared our gentlemen for that. Kinnan, thank you. It's always a marvel to see you up on stage on that piano. It's amazing how skilled you are at that craft, so thank you very much for sharing that skill with us. And congratulations also to our debaters, our volleyballers and our cricketers on to this our first teams to this point, an undefeated season, so well done and go well this weekend. I do want to acknowledge that initiative has come from our school captains, our captain and our vice captains, and Billy, you did a great job of emceeing that. So There's some incredibly valuable messages there, and it's important that all of you take note of that. This wasn't something that came from the Student Formation Office, it came from your own Nudgy brothers, so important that you listen to that. Many of you may know the fable of the child walking along a beach covered in thousands of stranded starfish that had been washed ashore due to a tidal surge. One by one, a boy walking along bends down, picks them up and throws them back into the ocean. An adult nearby laughs and says, "There are too many, you can't possibly make a difference." The child picks up another starfish, looks at the man and tosses it into the sea and replies, "Well, I made a difference to that one." It's a simple story, but it carries a powerful truth about learning and achievement. When we talk about study goals, academic improvement and personal best, it can sometimes feel like standing on that beach. There are assignments, exams, expectations, distractions, pressures, and comparisons. It can feel overwhelming. It can feel like no single effort really changes anything. But learning doesn't happen in great leaps. It happens in small, deliberate choices. It's the boy who chooses to revise for 10 minutes instead of scrolling. The boy who asks one more question in class. The boy who finishes the homework he'd rather avoid. It's the Year 7 boy who asks to take home his practice multiple choice questions at the end of his Study Like a Pro lesson. The boy who meets his teacher for help. The boy who sets a goal and sticks to it when no one is watching. Each of these choices is a starfish thrown back into the ocean. Over time, those choices shape a learner. They shape confidence, they shape discipline, and they ultimately shape the achievement that you attain. Today we have with us the High Achievers and Duxers of 2025, young men who have achieved remarkable academic heights, including Lucian DeWett, who attained, as we heard, the highest ATAR possible of 99.95. As an aside, Lucian, I love what you stated was most important about what Nudgy taught you. It reminded me of a quote I once read. "Be careful the environment you choose, for it will shape you. Be careful the friends you choose, for you will become like them." You obviously surrounded yourself with wonderful people. Today, men of Nudgy, it's right that we celebrate these former students. Their achievement is exceptional. But it's also important that we understand their story. Those results weren't created in one exam. They were not the product of one burst of motivation or one moment of brilliance. They were built slowly, consistently, faithfully, starfish by starfish. They were built in year six when it was easy to be distracted, but instead they stayed focused. They were built in year 8 when they knew that asking a question was more important than staying quiet. They were built in year 10 when it would have been easier not to study. They were built in year 11 when the work became more demanding. They were built in the quiet nights of year 12 when discipline mattered more than talent. Their success came from habits and persistence, from choosing effort again and again when no one was watching. And that is the message for every boy sitting here today. Your goals are not about competing with Lucian, our high achievers, and those who top their courses. They are about becoming a better learner than you were yesterday. For one boy, success might be moving from a C to a B. For another, it's mastering your organisation. For another, again, it's improving your learning habits by seeking feedback from teachers about how to improve them. And finally, for another, it's learning to persist when work becomes difficult. Every single step matters. Every improvement counts and every effort makes a difference. Because schools do not change lives in one moment, lives are changed in classrooms, in study periods, at desks, at home, in the quiet decisions to try again. And when a boy commits to his learning, truly commits, something shifts. Confidence grows, opportunities open, futures expand. The young men we honour today did not begin as high achievers. They became high achievers through thousands of small, faithful choices. Each decision was a starfish returned to the ocean. Each effort made a difference, and over time, those differences added up to excellence. Like the child on the beach, you may not see the full impact immediately, but each act of effort, each study session, each goal achieved is shaping who you are becoming. So I ask you today, what is your starfish? What is the one subject you will focus on, the one habit you will build, the one goal you will chase? Start there, pick it up, act on it, make a difference to that one. Because when every boy does that, when every boy commits to his own growth, this community becomes stronger, more capable, and more purposeful. Most importantly, you begin to realise something powerful. Your future is not decided in one moment of brilliance, but in hundreds of small, faithful choices to learn, to try, and to improve. Boys, learn from the example in front of you today. Celebrate it, be inspired by it, but most of all, begin your own journey. Pick up your starfish and begin. Thank you.
Good morning. This brings us to the end of the formal proceedings for today's assembly, and I'd like to reiterate what Mr. Thompson said and congratulate our high achievers and subject users for 2025. An incredible effort, as well as all of those acknowledged today across our performing arts and other areas of the college. Everyone acknowledged today is an absolute testament to the fact that learning and leadership are a lot alike. They're not done solely in big actions, not the big flashy things that we see up here on the stage. What it takes is small daily acts of kindness and personal discipline. And that's absolutely come through in everything that we've seen today from all of the young men up here. Before we get into our notices for the day, I would like to invite all of our high achievers and their special guests to make their way up to our Learning Centre Undercroft, where we've put on a special morning tea for you this morning. As our special guests and high achievers leave, gentlemen, can we give them another round of applause and thank them for coming today? As they make their way up to the Learning Centre, the challenge now passes on to you all. As a staff and as a leadership team and as a college, we want to see as many of you up here in the years to come as possible, celebrating your achievements across whatever domain it is that you choose to follow. So take the lessons that were delivered today, think about how you can apply them to your own studies and to your own day-to-day efforts, and we look forward to seeing you all up here in the years to come. Moving into our notices for the weeks ahead. This evening, it's not up on the slide, but this evening is our Year 5, 6 and 7 Parent Information Evening. It's taking place this evening as well, so your parents will be coming along to that if you're in those year groups there. On Wednesday, our Year 10 and 11 Parent Information Evening will be delivered online. There'll be an email sent out with a link to that information to parents in those year groups. Tomorrow is also our Inter-House Swimming Carnival. This is the same process that happens every year. We'll be running it in sessions. Session 1 is going to be Year 5, 6 and 11 before recess. Session 2 morning tea. It's the New South Wales in me coming out. Session 2 after morning tea will be Year 9 and 10. Session 3 will be Year 7, 8 and 12. Make sure you're coming in your sports uniform, you're wearing your hat, you're bringing some sunscreen, and you've got your water bottle with you as well as plenty of house spirit to cheer on your house and participate in those events. Thank you, gentlemen. Then moving into Thursday, we've got the Barrett House Mass, the McGee House Breakfast, Riley House Breakfast, and our GPS Showcase, as Mr. Thompson mentioned there down at TSS. Friday, your information for Friday is up there on the screen now. You've got Year 7, 8, 10 and 11 in your SF classrooms. Year 9, you'll have your establishing assembly in Tierney. You'll head straight there after PC, so you'll go to PC first and then head straight there. Year 12, if you're in Barrett, Duggan, Fogarty or McGee, you're straight to your SF classrooms. If you're in McKenna, Riley, Ross, Shaw or Tierney, you're going to the McHenry Centre and you are to wear your PE gear and get changed at morning tea. Okay? Moving into the remainder of that week, Friday, you can see the events that are happening there up on the screen. We've got the McKenna and Shaw House breakfast, that Year 9 establishing assembly I mentioned, as well as debating and swimming happening that weekend. Let's make sure we're getting there to those events. You're almost there, gentlemen. Thank you. Saturday, volleyball at Churchie, cricket at Churchie, and rowing at Warralong. And then moving into week 4, Mr. War mentioned to you our events for Shrove Tuesday. Make sure you're taking part in that and raising some good funds there for our charity appeals on that day. We then move into our Lenten period on Wednesday with Ash Wednesday. Thursday has the Ross House breakfast, the boarding formal dinner, and Friday sees the Fogarty House breakfast. That's the weeks ahead. Make sure you're checking your student notices as you go about your days as well to remind yourselves. From here, we're moving straight off to class. We're pretty much right on time. We've got our 3 cheers. Gentlemen, who have we got for our 3 cheers? Cooper Ramsey. Good stuff, Cooper. Thank you very much. All right. We're now going to be dismissed house by house. Ross House, last week you were the last to go, so you can go first this week under the direction of your house dean. Thank you very much. Riley House, you'll be staying back at the end for a brief message. Shaw House, thank you. Tierney House.